You were longing for something, you were saying, like almost to go wrong. So everybody had a band together, whether it was a hurricane or something, and that mundane life of just work and doing things you don't really want to do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the irony about modern society is that it has removed hardship and danger from everyday life. And it's in the face of hardship and danger that people come to understand their value to their society, and they get their sense of meaning from that. And so what you have is when, during the Blitz in London, for example, 30,000 people were killed by German bombs. It was a horror show over the course of 6 months. It was ghastly. But people were sleeping shoulder to shoulder in the tube stations and putting out fires with bucket brigades and digging people out of rubble. And they were acting as a unified society. And the English government was prepared for mass psychiatric casualties because there's a civilian population getting bombed to bits. And the opposite happened. Admissions to psych wards went down during the Blitz and then back up after the bombing stopped. And then afterwards, there was an enormous nostalgia in England for the Blitz, for those days, as tragic as they were, because English society people felt like they were together. Later, I went back to Sarajevo, where I'd been during the siege of Sarajevo in the early 90s, and civilians would tell me, this is 20 years later, 20 years after the war, people would say, a lot of us missed the war because we were better people back then. Wow. We took care of each other.
I've talked about that with September 11th. I went to New York City about, I guess it was maybe 6 months after September 11th, and I was there a couple of times. And the before September 11th and after September 11th, there was a very clear difference in the way people were behaving. People seemed to be more friendly, more open. They were really appreciative of first responders. I was there once, and a friend of mine, she fainted, and so they called the fire department, came to check her out. And when the firemen showed up, man, you would think fucking superhero showed up. Yeah. It was amazing. Everybody was so happy to see him. And it was in stark contrast to the way people used to behave and treat each other. And it was directly because of having experienced this horrific event.
Well, adversity produces pro-social behaviors in people. Adversity makes people act well. The lack of adversity, safety and comfort allow people to act selfishly. So after 9/11, the suicide rate went down in New York. The violent crime rate went down in New York. Vietnam vets reported that their PTSD symptoms went down after 9/11. What happens is people suddenly feel that they're needed by their society, by their people. And if you feel needed, you are able to ignore your own personal troubles. As someone in England, an English official said during the Blitz in London, he said, "It's amazing we have the chronic neurotics of peacetime driving ambulances." And if you think about it in terms of evolution, if adversity and danger produced bad human behaviors, we wouldn't be here today. Another way to say that is we are the descendants of the individuals 100,000 years ago who acted well in a crisis. The people that acted badly in a crisis and just took care of themselves and didn't take care of their people, their group, those groups died out. It's groups that encourage a form of altruism and self-sacrifice of individuals for the group during a crisis. Those groups survive. That DNA gets passed on.